Yellowstone National Park sits on top of what's essentially a geological time bomb. Most people visit to see Old Faithful or spot some bison, but they're actually standing on one of the most dangerous pieces of real estate on Earth. This isn't your typical mountain volcano. Yellowstone is what scientists call a supervolcano, basically a massive underground pressure cooker that's been building steam for hundreds of thousands of years. The scary part? It's not a question of if it will blow, but when. Here's what makes Yellowstone different from regular volcanoes. Instead of a single mountain peak, you've got this enormous underground magma chamber. Imagine a balloon the size of a major city slowly inflating beneath the ground. When it finally pops, it doesn't just affect the local area, it changes everything. The geological record tells us Yellowstone has done this before, 3 times actually, over the past couple million years. Each time it basically reset the clock on life in North America. The last big one happened around 640,000 years ago, which means we're potentially overdue for the next show. What's really unsettling is that scientists can see the warning signs building. The ground is literally rising in some areas, like the Earth is taking a deep breath before screaming. When Yellowstone finally decides to wake up, the immediate area becomes uninhabitable instantly. We're talking about a blast that would make nuclear weapons look like firecrackers. Everything within about 60 miles gets erased. Not damaged, erased. But that's just the opening act. The real nightmare begins when all that volcanic material gets launched into the atmosphere. Think of it like the world's worst snowstorm, except instead of snow, you're getting razor-sharp glass particles falling from the sky. The American heartland, all those farms that feed not just America but much of the world, would disappear under feet of this toxic ash. Breathing becomes deadly. Water becomes undrinkable. Machinery breaks down because the ash is so fine it gets into everything. The global impact is where things get truly terrifying. All that sulfur and ash in the atmosphere acts like a giant mirror, reflecting sunlight back into space. The planet starts cooling down fast. We're talking about a volcanic winter that could last years. This isn't theoretical. We've seen smaller versions of this before. When Mount Tambora erupted in 1815, it caused crop failures worldwide and killed hundreds of thousands of people through famine. Yellowstone would be roughly 50 times more powerful. Imagine trying to grow food when the sun is blocked out for years. Imagine entire regions becoming too cold to support agriculture. The global food system would collapse, and with it, probably civilization as we know it. The economic domino effect would be immediate and brutal. The United States economy would essentially stop functioning overnight. When America sneezes, the world catches a cold. Imagine what happens when America gets knocked unconscious. Supply chains that we take for granted would vanish. Your smartphone, your car, your morning coffee, all of that depends on a complex global network that would shatter the moment Yellowstone erupts. Countries would turn inward, hoarding whatever resources they have left. The human cost is almost impossible to calculate. We're potentially looking at billions of people facing starvation. Wars would break out over remaining farmland and resources. Democratic governments might collapse under the pressure, replaced by whoever can promise food and security. What's perhaps most frustrating is how unprepared we are for this scenario. We spend enormous amounts of money preparing for wars and terrorist attacks, but virtually nothing on preparing for natural disasters that could be far more devastating. There are things we could theoretically do. We could develop better early warning systems, create massive food reserves, even potentially find ways to relieve pressure in the magma chamber gradually. But we don't do any of these things because the threat feels too distant and too enormous to comprehend. Instead, we just hope it doesn't happen in our lifetime and kick the problem down the road for future generations to deal with. The Yellowstone Supervolcano represents one of those rare events that could genuinely threaten human civilization. Not just inconvenience it or set it back a few decades, but potentially end it as we know it. The odds of it happening in any given year are extremely low, but the consequences would be so catastrophic that maybe we should be taking it more seriously. After all, we buy insurance for our houses and cars. Shouldn't we have some kind of insurance policy for our entire species? The monster beneath Yellowstone will eventually wake up. The question is whether we'll be ready when it does. If this video got you thinking about the fragility of our civilization, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future videos exploring these kinds of existential risks. Drop a comment below and let me know. Do you think we should be doing more to prepare for supervolcanic eruptions? Or are there bigger threats we should be worried about? And if you found this information valuable, hit that like button to help more people discover these important topics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.